Canada is now the only country in the G7 officially in a recession. Not the United States, not Germany, not Japan, not France, Italy, or the UK. Canada. Here's the question almost nobody is actually answering. Why does it feel like Canadians are getting poorer in one of the richest countries on the planet? 3 hours west of Toronto in Windsor, a guy named Dave just got told his hours are getting cut. He can practically see Detroit from his side of the river. Same continent, same supply chain, completely different economy right now. Once you understand why, you'll understand the whole recession. Here's what actually happened. Statistics Canada has one rule: 2 quarters in a row of the economy shrinking, and it's official. That's what happened. It shrank at the end of last year, then shrank again at the start of this one. That confirmation landed in late spring and immediately got messy because the jobs numbers the very next month looked fine. Tens of thousands of new jobs. How does a country add jobs and sit in a recession at the same time? That's where this story actually gets interesting. Reveal 1. Canada sells almost everything it makes to a single customer. Roughly 3 out of every $4 of Canadian exports go to the United States. No other G7 country is that dependent on one buyer. Germany sells across Europe. Japan sells across Asia. The US sells to the world. Canada sells overwhelmingly to America. So when new tariffs landed on steel, aluminum, and cars, exactly what Canada makes, there was no backup market to absorb it. That's Dave's cut hours in one sentence. But that's the trigger, not the disease. Here's the disease, the one that actually explains the Canada versus America gap this whole story is really about. In 2010, a Canadian worker produced about 90 cents of output for every dollar an American worker produced doing the same kind of work. Today, it's closer to 75 cents. The widest that gap has been in over 40 years. Do the math on that, and economists estimate it's worth thousands of dollars a year in income. The average Canadian worker simply never gets to earn. A decade and a half of falling behind your closest neighbor, dollar by dollar, year after year. Why did Canada fall behind? Because of where the money went. For over a decade, capital that could have built factories and funded new technology went into real estate instead. Bidding up home prices felt like building wealth. It wasn't, it was borrowing against the future to feel richer in the present, while the actual machinery of the economy quietly rusted. And right now, with tariffs changing month to month, businesses don't know what next year looks like. So instead of building anything new, they're sitting on cash and waiting. Rational for one company, catastrophic when every company does it at once. Which brings us back to Dave's kitchen table, and the reveal that hits closest to home. 5 years ago, Dave locked in his mortgage at around 2%. His payment was about $2,900 a month. His renewal this year is expected to land closer to $4,400 and $1,500 extra dollars every month that used to go toward groceries and his kids' activities, now gone straight to the bank. Multiply Dave by 1, 2 million. That's roughly how many Canadian mortgages are renewing this year, most stepping up into higher payments. Pull that much money out of household budgets at once, and the economy doesn't just feel it. It shrinks because of it. People in online personal finance communities have been saying versions of the same thing for over a year, something close to, "I saw this coming, nobody listened." Consumer debt has now climbed past $2.5 trillion, with insolvencies at their highest level in nearly 2 decades. And here's the reveal that actually answers the question we opened with, why you feel poorer in one of the richest countries on earth. For years, Canada's total economy kept growing, and that got treated as proof things were fine. But total growth and per-person growth are 2 completely different numbers. The population grew quickly through immigration, which made the overall pie bigger. The slice each person actually got kept shrinking the whole time. Income per person has sat below its pre-pandemic level for 2 straight years. The country looked richer on paper. Almost nobody inside it actually felt richer, because almost nobody was. That's the whole answer. Not one cause. 4 forces landing together. One customer for nearly everything we sell. 15 years of money flowing into houses instead of productivity. A wall of mortgage renewals draining spending right now. And a population growth illusion that hid the real number for years. The tariffs didn't create any of this. They just pulled the cover off. Now here's what it actually means for you, whether you work a plant floor like Dave or not. If you're employed, expect slower wage growth for a while. Nervous, squeezed companies hold the line on raises and hope it passes. If you own a home or you're renewing a mortgage in the next year or two, build the higher number into your budget now, before the letter shows up. If you're young and trying to break into the job market, this is one of the hardest stretches in years, with youth unemployment well above the national average. If you're close to retirement, a slower growing economy generally means weaker returns on savings and more strain on the programs a lot of people are counting on. And if you're looking for where the real opportunity is, it's exactly where Canada has underinvested for years. Manufacturing automation, critical minerals, energy, anything that raises how much value a Canadian worker produces per hour. That's the literal fix for the gap we just walked through. Now, the strongest pushback to all of this deserves real airtime. Some economists argue this recession is shallow and possibly already over. Early numbers for this spring show growth returning, and the job market added far more positions than expected the month after the recession was confirmed, with full-time work leading the gains. A country in genuine freefall doesn't usually post numbers like that. That's fair, and it's backed by real data. But it misses something. A recession ending on paper doesn't undo 15 years of underinvestment, or 2 million mortgage renewals, or a productivity gap that's been widening since before most of today's headlines existed. The technical recession can end this year. The conditions that caused it don't disappear just because 2 quarters of growth turn positive again. So what actually happens next? The most likely path is a technical recovery sitting on top of a continued slow grind. The recession may get officially declared over within months, and in the narrowest sense, that's good news. But underneath that headline, the mortgage renewals keep coming through next year and the year after. The trade relationship with the US stays the single biggest risk on the board because the export concentration hasn't changed at all. And without real investment in productivity, some of the most respected economic forecasters internationally have warned Canada could be the weakest performing advanced economy among its peers for decades, unless something structural actually shifts. None of that is locked in. A single trade deal, policy shift, or investment wave could change this faster than anyone expects. But as it stands, the trend line points toward a country climbing out of one recession while still carrying every condition that caused it. So back to where we started. Why is Canada the only G7 country in recession, and why does it feel like Canadians are getting poorer in one of the richest countries on earth? Same answer. For 15 years, the country built its wealth on house prices instead of productivity, sold almost everything to one customer, and called population growth progress. The recession isn't the disease. It's just the moment the bill came due. Dave will probably keep his job. His hours might even come back by next year. But that mortgage letter on his kitchen table isn't going anywhere, and neither is the next one after it for over 1 million households just like his, unless something underneath the headlines actually changes. Subscribe for what Canadian news doesn't tell you.